with MKX, the sequel to the new MK series. This is the one that really made the fucking money.
It's actually kind of good timing on our part because this is the game came out in April in 2015, so we're now on like the 5th year anniversary of it.
And it looks 10 years old.
I know. I know it's shocking how like I won't say it's aged horribly graphically, but it just feels very dated going back to it on a graphical level.
Yeah, and I don't get it because like I'm thinking of games that came out in 2015 that look like they can come out today, like Metal Gear Solid 5, Bloodborne. Hell, I think even Fallout 4 looks better than this fucking game. How weird is that?
I know. It's like I don't know if it's just because 11 just looks so much better that it just immediately made like X look hideous and irrelevant, or if it just it exposed the limitations of the Unreal 3 engine. Because this is still running on the same engine that 9 did.
Okay, because
it's just it's a very fancy version of it.
All right, yeah, I can believe. Okay, so I can believe that, and also I can partially believe that this was the game that NetherRealm Studios proved that they can just make tons and tons and tons of fucking money. Because if you like the worst looking NRS game is Injustice 1, which it looks like a mobile game.
No, it's fucking hideous.
It is so goddamn ugly. And then once I imagine with MKX the money that game made, it just they were able to basically afford anything, and you see that with how good Injustice 1 looks and how great MK11 looks. But MKX is just such a not great to look at game.
I know. It's interesting because, like you said, it's kind of the blueprint for what the modern NetherRealms game is now. Even more so than 9 and versus DC, because while those kind of already set things up with the story, the elaborate story modes and all this is the one that kind of introduced stuff like heavy character customization through microtransactions, the kind of randomly generated challenges you could do every day, stuff like that.
They really games as a service this game. If you if that makes any sense. If you don't know what games as a service is, it's
yeah,
it sucks. It turns the game into a product, and to increase longevity of the game, much to its detriment. And it's like, it's that mindset. It's the reason why we got a sequel to a Mortal Kombat game so soon. 4 years had just passed, and we're already getting a new Mortal Kombat. Whereas if you look at like Tekken and if you look at Street Fighter, their sequels come very sparingly. Especially, like, Street Fighter is, like, almost 30 years old and has its 5th game. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, also, like, a lot of spin-offs, but, yeah, I get what you mean. With those games, they seem to take the approach where they kind of still do the games as service model, but it's just they just put out, like, one game per console generation and then just update it until the new generations of console comes out.
Right.
Where NetherRealms just does, like, the standard AAA Western gaming dev approach where they just, like, release a new entry every, like, 2 years.
Yeah.
And the old one becomes, like, who gives a shit?
Which is a bad model, and you're going to see that when we get to MK11.
Especially for fighting games, because that's not really how most fighting games work.
It's bad. It's not a good model.
It's why, like, because NetherRealm games have a reputation where people just kind of abandoning them, like, a year or two, so there's never really a long-form community. It's why they don't really gain traction in, like, tournaments and stuff, even now.
Yeah, it's very AstroTurf. And I don't want to blame NetherRealm Studios. I imagine it's probably Warner Brothers' fault for... They probably order them to make a game every 2 years.
Yeah.
Alright, but we're not here to talk about boring business shit. We're here to talk about the big, dumb, very elaborate story that MKX has. This one is, like, significantly longer than the MK9's in terms of, like, what's happening.
It's also, it has less chapters, though, but yeah, it does manage to somehow feel longer at the same time.
There's very long stretches, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, there's long where you're just watching cutscenes.
Yeah, you're just watching people talk. So it is a lot like wrestling.
So, I guess we'll just go right into it. Mortal Kombat X's story takes place about 2 years or so after the ending of, I guess we'll just call it 9. 9 story mode.
Yeah, it takes place like 2 years and then 20 years, and it's a story that jumps around from like different time frames of what happened after MK9. There's a lot of flashbacks, a lot of just a lot of like jumping back in time to give you more context. And I don't know if I dislike that or not, but
I mostly dug it, though. There's like, I'll get to it in a bit, but there's like one continuity error they had with like the like time stuff that made me like just, it turned on my inner like itchy and scratchy fan who's like, I hope someone gets fired for this blunder.
I see you wearing a shirt that said expert at work, but here you are watching cartoons.
It's genius at work, idiot.
Damn it! Damn it! Megos has been let go from Megos and Josh. It's now going to be Josh and Josh at ringside. We open up with the opening cutscene that just like tells you everything that's going on. It's like all the characters are what's it called? Them marble statues, and
yeah, it looks cool.
So when I saw that, I immediately thought, oh, this is just the credit sequence to Age of Ultron. Because they did the same. They did the same thing.
I was actually thinking the 2016 Royal Rumble. I don't know if you remember that.
That too, and I'm pretty sure that was influenced by Age of Ultron.
Yeah, look, I can see the appeal. It looks like it manages to look very. I'm trying to find the right word. I guess, for lack of a better word, epic, but also kind of, it makes your character seem super important.
Yeah.
Like these are such iconic characters that you can make marble statues of them and we'll admire them in a museum like 500 years later.
All things considered, everyone knows who Scorpion and like Sub-Zero and even like Liu Kang and Johnny Cage are. So they are pretty well-known characters.
Speaking of Johnny Cage, he is both our narrator for this opening exposition, and also, much like the last game, he starts us off as the first viewpoint character.
And he's not wearing any sunglasses in this entire thing. If you think he's going to put on a pair of sunglasses, you're dead wrong, which is very annoying. I don't like Johnny Cage with eyes out. It's very bothersome.
He feels incomplete without the sunglasses. I agree.
Yeah, it's like, what if... I don't know any other design on the top of my head, but it's like...
It'd be like if Raiden didn't have his cone hat.
Yeah, or in other series, it's like if Solid Snake or any snake didn't have the headband. I'm just gonna get into it now, but the artistic directions for this game is bad. It is drab. It is boring. You look at characters like Sonya and Johnny Cage and all these other different characters that have really, really, really like plain designs. Some of them are pretty good, like Devorah or Aaron Black or let's see. Hell, even some of the characters you can't even play as look better. Like Fujin looks awesome, but he's not playable. But instead, you got like, some of these guys are just wearing boring army clothes. I don't understand why they thought this design was a good idea.
I'm like mixed up because I agree with you with the game's art direction veers way too heavily into kind of the real is brown trope, but which is weird because this game came out like several years after that stopped really being a popular trend.
This was like 2 years into the PS4, Xbox One. Like, we're 2 years into this like current generation. So you're thinking, okay, these designs should be a little bit better, but a little bit more colorful. You have the graphical ability to do so, but they just chose not to. It's really bizarre.
I do really like actually a lot of the character designs though, including Sonya's. Like, I think they actually did decent middle ground with most of the cast of making them kind of a little more realistic than in 9, but without like just making it boring.
This is a series about an undead guy who has a skull for a face, Josh.
True, but I mean, I think most of them look cool. I mean, Fair. Okay.
There's a guy who's a reptile. Guess what his name is?
Reptile.
Yes.
Well, sorry if I want things to be a little more down to earth. A little bit of a slice of life in my Mortal Kombat.
Scorpion goes to the market.
Braca just runs out with like a piece of toast in his mouth.
I'm late to Tarkatan school. The episode where Jade and Katana go camping and Katana ate all the food.
So chapter 1, after the opening exposition crawl, we go to chapter 1 with Johnny Cage, and he's a military man now. He's with the special forces, and we're kind of show that Shinnok has escaped the Netherrealm, and of course Nine teased him as sort of the next villain, and now he's on a rampage. He has like a shitload of like evil demons destroying shit. He has like the Reverence, Revenant. Thank you. I keep fucking that up.
The
Revenant.
The movie that came out like a few years ago. Revenant, starring Leo DiCaprio. Yeah.
Thank you.
And I actually like how Scorpion just shows up in the helicopter that they're on. Like, you see one helicopter go down, and they're like, "Oh, what the hell's going on?" And it just shows Scorpion no, actually, his hook goes through the windshield, and
yes,
and then he he just suddenly appears. Like, oh yeah, this guy can just he can teleport. It's something that you don't think about, but yeah, he can totally just do that.
It's true. And he just starts slaughtering dudes. Like, he is just killing like pretty much everyone there except for Johnny, Sonya, and Kenshi. We should mention Kenshi. He's also with the good guys now. He's in 9 as a playable character, but he wasn't really part of the story. But he has like a few cameos, I think, in the background, so it's not like he's out of nowhere.
Yeah, he's DLC in MK9, and now he's finally playable. And Kenshi's one of my favorite of the newish, not newish, but like post 3 era Mortal Kombat. I just like blind samurai archetypes. I always think they're cool.
He is super cool, and like he pretty much is like the most beloved of the PS2 era guys. Like, he's the only one who everyone universally agrees is cool, and I'm glad he's here. I like his he doesn't have it here. He's still young, but I like his old man beard post time skip.
Oh yeah, he looks awesome in his post time. Like I said, some designs knocked it out of the park. Some designs are like, you should have gone back to the drawing board. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Scorpion is just cutting through the red shirt army, and we.
That's literally what they are. The troops are there to get owned. I'm sorry, troops.
No, that's literally all the special forces dudes do in the story mode. They are literally just like stormtrooper mooks. And then after that, we get the first of several QuickTime event sequences. How did you feel about those?
Padding. I just saw them as like some.
Yeah.
I just saw it as a gameplay thing to do in between actual fighting
dudes.
And cutscenes.
And Injustice had these too, and I like these better than the ones in Injustice, just because they're like better choreographed. But they're kind of it definitely felt like they just inserted them just for the sake of having them.
Yeah. The only thing I like about these QuickTime events is failing them, because usually failing them is way it's unintentionally funny, but it's hilarious whenever you fail a QT in a game.
It's like, I'm sure you've seen it, but that one with that Heavy Rain one where like Jaden's chasing the
a classic. One of my favorites.
It literally just turns into a slapstick comedy.
I'm just thinking about it now. It just makes me laugh.
Same. Oh, one thing I should note here is that I really, really like Johnny Cage's character evolution in this game, but also, like, I think he legit has, like, probably one of the best arcs of the entire new trilogy.
Yeah,
They do
he feels like the most consistently well-written character in the whole series. He still is jokey, but he's like taking things way more seriously because he's realizing there's much more at stake each time a new threat is around.
Yeah. He's pretty much, by this point, he's just completely, like, grown out of being, like, the egotistical Hollywood star he was at the start of the last game. And it's cool. It's also cool because as a fighter, he's, like, grown a lot, too. He keeps up with Scorpion.
Yeah, that was really cool. That, like... Yeah, that was really neat. That was, That's how... that was really neat.
He even backhands him at one point during the Q2E sequence. It's cool as fuck.
Just show. Oh, it's a good way of like showcasing power levels, like and character growth. Yeah.
And this isn't even the most badass thing he does in this chapter.
I like when he fights both of them at the same time.
And later on. Oh, speaking of both of them, Sub-Zero's there too. He's just there to like kill the like few red shirt dudes that Scorpion didn't cut up.
Yeah, so Sub-Zero, if you don't remember, was turned into a revenant. However, he's back into his flesh form. He's no longer a robot, which makes sense because you can't take your You know what? Never mind, because Jax goes back with his metal arms.
I know, it's not consistent. Apparently the prequel comics for X retconned it so that instead of Sub-Zero getting killed by Sindel, he just got wounded and Quan Chi kidnapped him. But he and Quan Chi makes him human again because he realized he's immune to becoming a revenant because of his cyborg stuff, and then he becomes a revenant.
Okay.
It's dumb.
That's quite the workaround, but you know what? I appreciate the effort. Good kid. He's like, oh boy, I'm... just like laying on the floor of the church and like, oh boy, I got banged up, and then a sack goes over his head.
He like just like Scorpion and Quan Chi just like throw him into a van.
So yeah, helicopter crashes. Johnny falls with Scorpion, but lands fine. It's really bizarre. I guess it's like that troll physics comic where you're falling off a roof while sitting in a chair, and that if you just simply get out of the chair, you'll survive. So it's a lot like that.
Oh shit!
Just push the guy you're falling with away, and you'll be fine. But this begins one of the actual fights you do in the game.
Yeah, this has the exact same formula as 9, where it's just like 4 fights per character. It's actually way more rigid. I don't think anyone gets more than 4 this time.
Which, thank God.
Yeah, I agree.
So I imagine playing it is fine, but watching it is like, 'cause that's what I did. Because
fake gamer.
Well, you can blast through those things fast. I don't know how you do it. It takes me forever. I'm a very slow gamer.
I am too, actually. It actually took me a week to do 9 story mode,
really?
But I was able to bang through like all of like X's yesterday, though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's short, which helps. But yeah, so first fight is Cage beats Scorpion's ass, and then he beats Sub-Zero's.
And then
he's a little.
He comes. Yep. He goes to collect his honey thing. Sonya out of the trunk out of the wreckage of the helicopter. She's fine. She wore her seatbelt.
Yep.
And then it cuts to the temple where we see Raiden and Fujin. Fujin's in this game.
Yeah. Fujin's pretty cool. He's an underrated character in my opinion.
Hell yeah! I mean, this is one of the first of many instances where you'll see a character who was a playable character in a previous entry, but is not even DLC. They're just there for the sake of being there, and I actually really like that because it makes the world feel way bigger.
Oh no, super agree. Because that was a problem we harped on in our last episode, that like the world in 9 felt very small because it's literally the only places you go to are the stages, and the only characters are just the dudes you fight.
Yeah, and just like generic nobodies. But instead, now you're
Yeah.
seeing like characters who actually do play a part in the whole lore and series.
Mm-hmm. Fujin is pretty much like the only Elder God aside from Raiden that's not an asshole.
Oh yeah, he rules.
Mm-hmm. So he and Raiden do some like cool tag team stuff against a ton of like evil demon dudes before the Revenants show up, and this is like our first. And we see Striker, Sindel, and Cabal.
Yeah, this is like one of the many factions. There are about 3 factions. There's Raiden and Earth Special Forces, and then you have the Kotal Khan crew, and then you have the don't say that abbreviation out loud. And then you have
like Krusty the Clown.
Yeah, oh no. And then you have and then you also
have Shinnok's gang.
And you have the Shinnok Revenant crew. So you have 3 factions, all like.
And you kind of have the faction. You have like the factions within the factions because you got the Lin Kuei and you got like the Xiaoyu and all that.
Yeah, it just makes it feel like a way bigger world where you have all these different groups of people. Some of them working together, some of them not. And it just like I said, it's good. It's good setting building. You want to make your setting feel big. You want to feel make it feel complicated because then your world just feels small and really simple.
It's actually, they even tied it into gameplay because here you can now join factions online, and it's like one of the 5. I think it's like the Lin Kuei, the Black Dragon, Special Forces, and like 2 others I forgot. And you can like, depending on like which faction you're part of, every time you win a match, you gain points for them and stuff like that. It's kind of neat.
I think the one I was in was Black Dragon. Which one were you in?
I think it was Lin Kuei.
Figures. I believe the 3D chess master Quan Chi shows up to troll, and then he leaves.
Yep.
And his costume is rad. You're gonna mention. I made note of like each costume I do like and each costume I don't like, and Quan Chi's, both of his are awesome.
Oh, I agree. They it does a good job of being its own theme, but it kind of invokes like his old 4 outfit.
Yeah,
with the big spikes and stuff.
Definitely.
Yeah. It's rad.
So, cut to them finding a cave. There's a lot of bouncing around that I don't really care for. Like, why were they in the city? Now they're suddenly at some cave. I guess maybe they're cutting through the city. It's really bizarre.
Mm-hmm.
So, cut to them finding a cave. They find Revenant, Nightwolf, Jax, and Smoke. Johnny Cage faces Smoke, but Smoke says that he is a Nenra, which is a yokai it's a type of yokai that are smoke creatures thingies.
Oh.
They're like smoke monsters, so it's cool that like Evil Smoke refers to him as that.
Thanks for doing the research on that. It's too bad that Smoke doesn't have much of a role in that. I think that's literally like his only line.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of the Revenants from MK9 are just sort of generic baddies.
Yeah. Pretty much anyone that's not like a playable character, it's kind of just in the background.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. So afterward... I'm sorry, you first.
Oh, no, I was going to say Johnny Cage then fights Jax, and Jax has these big evil metal arms.
I know. They literally have spikes on them. It rules.
They look so edgy. I love it.
Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, Johnny beats up Jax, and he gets sad because, we used to be bros, man.
Remember when you punched me in the face when I asked you if you fucked Sonya? Good times, man. Remember when I asked you if you laid the pipe? Come on, man, aren't we friends? That's what happened.
Nah, that was like they're fighting 9.
Let's see what else happens. So we see a scene of like Raiden and Fujin shooting wind and lightning at Revenants, and the 3 Revenants are like standing in like sort of like a line. And they're both being like zapped by Raiden's lightning, and they're like, "Oh, I hate it."
No. But then, dun dun dun, Shinnok's here.
I love his entrance of the giant bone hands. He loves those giant skeleton hands.
I love them too. If I could like summon giant skeleton hands whenever I want, I would do it every chance I get.
Yeah. Let's see. So
Shinnok pretty much just looks exactly like he did in the old games, where he's just like a clown thing.
He does look like a clown. Yeah.
Yeah.
He does look goofy. He does look kind of goofy. He doesn't look like threatening or anything. It must have been like at the time they thought, oh, okay, this is a cool design. But like, if he's supposed to be like this hell guy, he doesn't look like one. You know what I mean? He looks like
I didn't really care for it.
He looks like a god of mischief. You know what I mean?
Oh no, totally. Like, yeah, that's like the kind of character you'd be more fitting for. He's also now voiced by Troy Baker, who gives him like a very Faye sounding voice.
Oh, that was Troy Baker? Okay. There's
Yeah.
So a lot of voice actors in this game sort of got replaced. Some of them, I believe, reprised their roles. Like Patrick Seitz still plays Syed.
Scorpion.
Still plays Scorpion, I believe.
I know Richard Epcar's still Raiden.
Yeah, Raiden's voice never changes, which is cool.
Yeah.
Let's see, and then let me look up MK9 VAs. I know that we'll get into it for MK11, but MK11 has a like way worse like
voice cast.
Not way worse voice cast, but like almost every character gets replaced.
Yeah, I think aside from like the obvious one with Sonya, there are some others I didn't give her either.
So yeah, like Quan Chi has the same voice actor. Let's see. Yeah, Liu Kang has the same voice actor. Like a lot of voice actors did reprise their roles, but I am noticing like I'm seeing like differences. Like I believe the guy who played Jax is a different voice. I think
he's voiced by Grimm from the Grimm Adventures.
Yeah, you can hear it. I believe like let's see. I think Johnny Cage has a different voice actor now.
Yeah.
So there's a bit of switch up, but some of your favorite familiars are still there, which I like.
Yeah, I think most of the changes for the better though. Like I say overall, probably in terms of voice acting, this is probably the best of the trilogy.
Yeah, this is my
Everyone
favorite.
does a really good job.
Yeah, this is probably my favorite lineup that they got.
Yeah, and all the new characters have like perfectly fitting voices.
Definitely.
Yeah, got that bit.
So Shinnok mentions like, oh, you use souls and mortals too for your thing. I'm like, oh yeah, you guys are basically the same character essentially, in terms of like where they, like what they do. Mm-hmm. Like Raiden uses mortals to fight his problems. So why shouldn't like, how dare he judge Shinnok for doing the same thing?
It's not a bad point. And then, yeah, like Shinnok, Raiden, and Fusion have like a big epic battle, but like Shinnok just kicks their asses.
And then uses amulets to suck them into the void, to whatever it is you get sucked into.
I think he was gonna suck him into his medallion.
I know, but like, what is in that medallion that's sucking them so hard? You know what I mean?
I thought it was like a genie lamp.
Oh, interesting.
Phenomenal cosmic power, maybe loom space.
Yeah. So now we see Johnny Cage make the save. He uses his green ability. What's the name of that ability? Do you know what it is?
I don't know. I know. The only thing Raiden says is that it's like a Mediterranean ability that was passed down from his family line.
Mediterranean?
It's not like that.
Oh, I got the freaking power over here. That kind of Mediterranean power?
I think so.
Oh, we're Italians. We got two. We got the inner fucking power.
It should be noted that only gets triggered because Shinnok attacks Sonya, and that makes Johnny really angry. And the only way he can get that type of power if someone he loves is in danger.
Interesting.
So it's like it's very anime.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that is very anime. Like, how dare you hurt my friends who I love? I'm gonna kill you. Yeah, I can totally picture that in anime.
So Johnny's now enhanced by this new power, and he just kicks Shinnok's ass.
This is like the first time they've ever addressed it, because it's in
It's in every like the green glowing shade does. It's in every single MK game. And this is the first time they give like an in-universe reason for it.
Yeah, I always wondered why they just never explained it, and now they're like, yeah, he has it, but they don't like actually explain, where it comes from or where they don't explain it to you in game, which is like that's when you should explain something, not through like some story ending or comic book or whatever. It's like, come on, guys, be clear with your reasonings. Let's see. So now it cuts to 20 years later, and
before that, Shinnok, after Shinnok gets defeated, he gets sucked away into a medallion. That becomes super important later.
Yeah, so I guess the amulet's kind of like a prison for gods. It's like the only way you can seal away a god.
Yeah, because you can't kill him in the normal way. And that medallion becomes the main MacGuffin for the rest of the game.
Yeah, if you liked Raiden's amulet, boy, we got a new amulet for you.
So yeah, we get like a 20-year time skip, which is shown by we get a close-up of Johnny and his hair becomes gray. He's got a few lines on his face, but that's about it.
That's about it. Sonya is even more...
Yeah.
Sonya looks happy. Sonya does not look any old.
Oh no, they just flat out didn't bother with
her. No, she's the only way they signify that she's older is that she's wearing a hat now.
And also, we get our introduction to pretty much the new protagonist of the game, which is the I guess MK kitties.
Yeah, the newbies. In my notes, I have them as newbies. That's my little pet name for them because they don't really have a group name for them.
Pretty much, they're just the descendants of several of the previous characters. We got Cassie Cage, who's obviously Johnny and Sonya's daughter.
Oh yeah.
We got Jacqui Briggs, who's Jack's daughter. We got Kung Jin, who's Kung Lao's cousin, I think.
Kung Lao's cousin. I thought he was his son, but no, it's his cousin. And Takeda is Scorpion and Kenshi's kid. I'm not.
No, congrats on Kenshi and Scorpion.
Yeah, both of them they both raise him like they're his two dads.
Yeah, pretty much.
New generation, like, oh yeah, these characters fucked to bring you these new characters. That means
this was actually.
That
sorry, what?
Mortal Kombat has the balls to have their characters fuck, where other fighting games don't.
And other fighting games are terrified of sex, but that's Mortal Kombat.
They're like, all right. Ken will fuck, but that's it, buddy. All right, don't push your luck. Now it's like, everyone fucks in this game. So what?
This is actually kind of in line with what Ed Boon wanted with his original plan for Armageddon was after that game, they would just have a total clean slate with Mortal Kombat. They do what Street Fighter 3 kind of did, where like they'd have like Scorpion and Sub-Zero, but that'd be it for returning characters. Everyone else be brand new. But of course that didn't happen. Yeah.
I actually kind of like. Well, my only problem with one of them is that Jackie's costume is very boring. She looks like, I have it written down in my notes, like a mall army recruiter, like someone at a booth at a mall, like trying to recruit teens into the army.
Oh my gosh, exactly. She's like, hey guy, you like Call of Duty? Well, do you want to do that for real?
Hey man, don't you want to get a 20 kill streak for real?
Yeah, I agree. I like her design in 11 way more.
Yeah, it's like actually interesting and cool. But like this is just the most boring fucking like. All she has is like stuff on her hands, and that's it. She's wearing fatigues and like a breastplate, I think. Meanwhile, like Takeda looks like Salt Snake. Cassie looks like a cool spy girl. Like what's his name? Splinter Cell guy. What's his name?
Sam
Fisher.
I think
Sam
there's
Fisher.
a Splinter girl.
Sam.
That's a dude though.
Well, but you know what I mean, like the sneak.
Oh, female version of Sam. Yeah, I get what you mean.
The female version of Sam Fisher, and like Kung Jin looks like a mystic warrior guy, whereas Jackie just like, hey, those executions that you do in Battlefield, don't you want to do them IRL? I'm sorry, this is extremely lame and like probably the worst design in the whole game. The worst. Well, which one?
I'll have to think of that.
Which one do you think is
worst? Oh gosh. Honestly, I was like, no, it can't be the worst design. But I'm like thinking it over, and honestly, I think you might be right. It's just most boring. It's least memorable.
It's
which is worse than just being like outright bad.
Yeah. It's worse to be boring than offensive, in my opinion. It's.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause at least I remember offensive. I don't remember anything other than, she just looks like an army girl. She looks like a beefed up NPC.
Exactly. She looks like someone who's just there to like give you a quest or like fight along.
Yeah.
or like she's the person you asked to get out of the Warthog driver's seat in Halo.
It's like, because you don't trust them to drive because they'll just go and immediately drive off the cliff. The moment you like, I'm gonna work the turn, then the NPC just. Okay. So basically Johnny's like, all right. So here's some geopolitical stuff. I need you to go to the Linkway Temple because we haven't heard from the Grand Master. We don't know if they're on their side. And you guys also need to go to Outworld because this rebellion might go one way or the other, and we need to go one way. So basically, they're the CIA.
Yeah, exactly.
Just checking if their leaders are cooperative, and if not, disappear them.
Exactly. And that brings. Oh, sorry. What?
Nah, I was going to say something, but I forgot. One of them mentioned something called the Reiko Accords, which is like the agreement between the two realms of Earthrealm and Outworld. And that's interesting because it's named after the character Reiko, who controversially people thought was Shao Kahn. Remember that?
Oh, yeah, from MK4?
Yeah, where like people thought, oh, Shao Kahn's back. It's like, no, it's Reiko.
I know, that dude's like character is just literally he's a Shao Kahn fanboy.
Yeah, he cosplays him, and if you look at his costume without the helmet, he dresses like Shao Kahn.
Mm-hmm. His ending in 4 is literally just him going to Shao Kahn's throne room and like wearing. I know, like they like played up to like almost like comically creepy levels, like his bio in like Armageddon's like Reiko sometimes likes to wear Shao Kahn's helmet when he's not looking.
Simp.
So that brings us to our second viewpoint character,
Kotal
a
Kahn.
newcomer. Yep, Kotal Kahn. He's probably one of my favorite of like the newer PS4 era characters.
He's
just
rules, and it sucks so much that he's just a jobber.
Yeah, that's kind of the sad reality. He looks badass. He sounds badass. He's voiced by Phil Lamar, who gives him like a very like cool, deep sounding regal voice. And but yeah, he's not as bad in this game. But like 11, he's literally just there to get beat up and be like a dude in distress for Jade.
I'm probably gonna go off on the episode when we cover what happens to him.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, just a AAA super cool design with a character treatment that just sucks so much, and I'm getting mad now. But like, I'm sorry, he's a cool Aztec warrior god, and that's my shit. And they blew it.
I know. I'm sad about it.
But whatever. So Kotal's like in a carriage with Kano, and Kano is like talking about doing business and how he's totally on his side and totally going to be loyal to him. And betrayal? No, mate. Come on, mate. I'm not going to betray you.
This kind of demonstrates another sad reality about Kotal, which is that he's kind of dumb.
Yeah, he is actually. He's actually incredibly stupid, unfortunately.
I know. Because yeah, he's just totally like, oh, of course, Kano, you're like, you're legit. I know you're not gonna do anything. And so, of course, there's like a full-on civil war between Kotal and Melina, who was the previous Empress of Outworld and got disposed of because she was just like a terrible.
Yeah, apparently her rule was very short-lived because she sucked ass at it. What's
Yeah,
interesting about it is that she's being backed by fellow Edenians, Tanya, who's DLC, and Rain, who isn't, but was DLC in MK9.
yeah.
Rain
And
actually
it's
does
got.
play a neat little, does actually add a little bit to the story in terms of like what he does.
Mm-hmm. So of course it turns out that Kano is actually working for Melina because Melina paid him way more, and
How does
ap-
how does Outworld Bucks get like? I guess Kano has to live in Outworld for the rest of his life if he wants that money to be good. Because like what country in our world will like convert Outworld Bucks to real money? You know what I mean?
I can't. I can't just assume at this point that Kano just stayed in Outworld because he would probably just be arrested immediately if he stepped into like Grid Realm.
Yeah, the moment he's dead. And actually, yeah, that's probably why he has to stay there. So okay.
It's kind of like how some people in real life have to like flee to another country and live there because they know if they go back to their home state, they're just gonna go jail immediately.
Yeah, like Edward Snowden or Chelsea. I almost called her Chelsea Clinton. Chelsea. Fuck, what's her name?
Manning.
Manning. God damn.
Yes.
So yeah, Kano betrays Kotal, but then we realize that Kotal Khan is a death warrior god and just starts beating the fuck out of Kano in the carriage. It's really funny.
It is. This is our second QTE event, and yeah, like Kotal just brutalizes Kano. He literally like stabs his eye out at one point.
Yeah, he starts gouging his eye. It makes me wonder what that was their plan, was to hopefully get the jump on him. Why not did he fuck up?
It feels like you'd at least want someone more like powerful than Kano to do the assassination of the big Mario-astic semi-god. But
you just gotta go with what you got. Oh yeah, Melina also has Tarkatan forces aiding her, so she's basically using both her heritages of being half Tarkatan and half Edenian.
Mm-hmm.
But before Kotal can do anything to Kano, Tanya interrupts and says that Melina became an Edenian nationalist and wants to revive Edenian to its former glory.
Mm-hmm.
Which is interesting because they did away with her whole like killer little girl shtick that she did in MK9.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's one of the many. That's like probably one of the better character rehabilitations that they've done.
Mm-hmm. I like Tanya's design here a lot too.
Oh yeah, she's awesome. She's fun to play as if you have her as DLC.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, she was one of my mains.
And I believe after Kotal beats Tanya, he fights Rain. Rain's not playable, but Rain's motivation's like, I want Edenian to come back. So basically, it's just a bunch of racist Edenians demand. Yeah. I have in my notes. So Kotal is a globe cuck. He wants to unify all of Outworld, and I guess Edenians want their own state.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Rain's kind of trying to play 4D chess because he's not really on Melina's side. He's just hoping that if he like constantly aids her, that it'll fuck up Kotal while Kotal fucks up her forces, and they'll both be so weak that he can swoop in.
Yeah, I like all there's a lot of good motivations in this story.
Yeah, they actually do a good job of giving, like, you know, for most part, people aren't just kind of like with the last game. They do a good job of like establishing why all these people are fighting instead of just, you know, I don't like your face or I like to fight.
Yeah, or like how dare you imply that me and my former troop partner fucked? You know, like it's better than that. There's way better justification in this story. So
before we move on from Rain, since we fight him here, the game kind of does a neat thing that caused controversy because Baraka, and Sindel aren't playable characters here, but you can fight them, and people thought it meant that they were locked DLC characters. But looking back at it, since none of them ever became playable in this game, it's pretty obvious they just took their like 9 models and just prettied them up a bit and just put them here because they literally have the exact same attacks from 9 in animations.
Yeah, and I don't know how to feel about it because I think it's well. Actually, now I think about it, since this game came out, so in Street Fighter V, there are characters that you don't play as and aren't locked behind DLC or anything like that you fight in its story mode, like the dolls and all that. So I kind of like it because it adds variety to who you fight against instead of.
That's exactly why I like it because that was the problem 9 had. You're not just playing.
You just beat up Reptile and Baraka and Shiva for like the 50th time. So yeah, it adds variety and quit your whining to all those who whined.
Then we get our final battle for this chapter, which is against Melina. And Melina's characterization is kind of interesting here because I remember when we were talking about Bailey after she turned heel, and kind of like when she was a face, she was pretty much like a little kid.
Yeah.
And then when she turned heel, it's like she grew up and became like a moody teenager. That's kind of feels like with Melina here.
Definitely, yeah. And it's like way less creepy too, because like why is this grown ass woman acting like a child? And it's like you implied because she's just been born. But yeah, like I said, it's a good characterization, but she's still impulsive. Like she's using this amulet that hurts her.
Oh yes. Yeah, Melina has her hands on the Shinnok amulets, and like it's pretty obvious with Rain at least that he knows it's gonna kill her eventually and wants to do that.
Yeah, which is good because then he gets to be prince, or then he gets to be king. He's already a prince. Get it? Do you guys get it? He's purple, and he has rain. Prince.
Can you explain? I'm confused. Can you explain to me there?
Well, you see, there was an artist named Prince back in the 80s, 90s who...
I know, I was just joking.
He made rock ballads and...
It's actually interesting because, like, Rain, like a lot of MK characters literally just started as a dumb joke. He wasn't playable in the original version of 3. He was just, like, in the, like, those attack modes where, like, the arcades where they just show a little gameplay. And just, they thought it'd be funny to have a purple ninja named Rain. I mean, Print. Because, get it.
Yeah, a lot of the... so, like, I always like that Mortal Kombat has, like, the ninja archetype. And it's, like... They have the red ninja, the blue ninja, the yellow ninja, the green ninja. And over time, you see those designs go from that, like, base to something unique. Because that happens for... There's, like, both the female version with, like, Katana, Jade, Melina. And there's the, like, the male version, Sub-Zero, Scorpion. I always like that. So.
Oh, me too. It's really like fascinating to look back and seeing how like they evolve because it doesn't start until after they move away from like the digitized like kind of live action sprites.
Yeah, definitely. Because that was just to save resources, but I like how they do it now. How they have it now, and I think they have the whole color, every color on the rainbow spectrum. I think. No, do they have an orange? Do they have an orange guy? No. All right, that's got to be the next character.
But yeah, moving on from color discussion, we go on to chapter 3.
Yeah, we're at the Linquay Temple.
Yep. Yeah. So our newbies are infiltrating the temple, and we get our first glimpse of the present Sub-Zero, who looks... I love Sub-Zero's design in this game.
Yeah,
looks very cool.
It's like MK3 where he took the mask off and all that, so he's just letting his like natural look, and now he has a beard, a cool old man beard.
Yep, and now he's voiced by Steve Bloom, who of course has like one of the coolest voices ever.
Oh yeah, I love how Steve Bloom portrays him as like the old sort of badass kind of voice.
And this chapter is kind of cool now. It's structured because it's pretty much as Sub-Zero is pretty much testing the newbies here.
Yeah, this is like the most like straightforward chapter. You play as Sub-Zero and you fight all 4 of the newbies.
And each time in between, he gives them like a pep talk where he kind of like addresses what their flaws are that they need to work through. And it's kind of him all but saying, "This will be your character arc for the rest of the game."
Yeah, basically, just spelling it out to you, the player. We're still Mortal Kombat's still not subtle yet.
Nope. So after that, it kind of is that, Sub-Zero beats all their asses. They learn that the whole thing was just a test, and Johnny Cage is there. It's like, LOL. And of course, then we get kind of one of the major story points of the game, which is that these guys don't get along with each other. They don't work well as one unit.
Yeah, very, very much like Avengers 1 and 2. Like, I'm referencing Avengers 1 and 2 again, but Avengers 1 and 2 really sort of ruined any team-up movie, because they all have the very similar arc of, well, I don't like you, well, I don't like you.
And I get it, because conflict is you're always going to need conflict in a story, but it feels samey after a while when it's like the exact same, these guys need to work together as a team.
Yeah, because when they do work together, then they're unstoppable. It's like, it's kind of lame. It's overdone. It's like, I know for a fact that the new Justice League movie did that, even though I didn't see it. But I know, I could just tell, because it was made by the same guy. That I don't like you, well, I don't like you, and like, guys, we need to work together. I just find that cheesy.
Nah, I agree. Not a fan. So moving on from Sub-Zero, we get let's see, what happened after that? Oh, Sony sends them a message that like Outworld refugees are fleeing to Earthrealm.
Yeah, did they ever explain why they're going to Earthrealm?
It's probably because Outworld's just super fucking unstable right now, because literally there's a massive civil war going on.
Oh yeah, Civil War. Shit, I forgot. I thought like Kotal Khan was kicking them, because like if you look at these Outworlders, I think they're Adinians of some sort. I just assume that if you're a human, you're an Adinian in Outworld. That's how that works, right?
That's probably about right.
I'm not racist, right?
You're
right. Racist against a fictional kid.
I don't know, man. You're starting to veer into problematic territory here, but I'll forgive you.
So yeah, you see a bunch of human Outworlders. You don't want any of them multiple arm Outworlders in their refugee camp. I'm serious. Like, they should have like mixed it up and had like.
Oh, I agree. Yeah, we'll have to have a good job of kind of like humanizing them, so it's not just human good and monster bad.
Yeah, that's something that they visit in MK11 that I actually liked.
Mm-hmm.
So
with the Tarkatan?
Yeah, the Tarkatan people. So Sonya goes to so Sonya says, "Hey, all you come here," and then she gives Johnny Cage the cold shoulder, almost literally. Like she gives him her shoulder.
No. They do a thing where like at the end of Johnny's chapter, like they have, after Johnny saves Sonya, she's like, "Oh, Johnny," and Johnny's like, "You called me Johnny." But then, like, when we see them in the present, we just immediately know what their relationship's like, because she's just like Cage.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah. It's changed drastically.
They're also, I think they're divorced.
Oh yeah, they're super divorced.
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting dynamic, because it's a lot of like in a lot of these stories where like the one character's like really cold and like not too into her work and not paying attention to her family, it's usually the dude.
Yeah.
So it's kind of here. This time it's like Sonya's the one that's kind of like not paying enough attention to her family, and it's just become this very, very distant from them.
Definitely. Plus, it's like, whenever you see these like next generation type takes on a story, and you think two characters are going to hook up, and then it turns out they don't.
Yeah.
Or they don't, like, they do hook up, but then it's like not long term. It's like, you don't see that a lot. I like that.
Yeah, no, it felt more realistic. That's that's why I want my Mortal Kombat.
I mean, yeah, it's different.
Yeah.
We get Lee May. Lee May is an informant for is like sort of like the Outworld expert.
Yeah, she's another PS2 era character.
She's not playable, but yeah, she's another PS2, and she, I believe, was the Purple Lady Ninja.
Yeah. She was like one of the new good guys.
Yeah,
I think.
I believe
Yeah.
so. Fun fact: Li Mei was the first to die in MK Armageddon's opening cutscene. She gets impaled by Hotaro's spear.
Oh shit! That's
Another fun fact:
a
Hotaro in
dubious honor.
Japanese is not only a female name, but also it translates to butterfly, and he's supposed to be like this, like warrior lord or something.
I legit don't know if they're just doing irony or if like they just picked any Japanese name.
They just picked
Yeah,
a
you're
Japanese
right.
name. Come on, John.
I still
You think they actually researched this shit? The Lin Kuei are Chinese ninjas. They don't understand Asian culture. They just think it looks cool.
I still can't get over Senjiko being like the Japanese for protagonist.
That's the one word that got translated.
So Lee May's there to kind of just give some exposition, just talking about how our world's super fucked up, everyone's fleeing, and Melina has Shinnok's amulet, which immediately sets everyone high alert.
And Raiden's like, "That's impossible. I locked it away." Like, "Oh, there you go." Yeah, you've never fucked up, have you, huh, asshole?
So Raiden like leaves the like. So Lee May at one point mentions Kano, and that's like Sonya uses that as the lead to go track him down while Cassie and her crew go to Outworld.
Yeah, and I also another thing, I like Sonya's voice actress. She's like has this very deep, older sounding voice.
Me too. Yeah, it's easily the best.
It reminds me of Sarah Connor and T2.
Oh my, totally. Yeah, I can see it or hear it in this case. It's easily the best like the three voices Sonya gets in the series, and I really badly with.
Oh, I can't wait to talk about that.
Yes. So then we get chapter 4, which is focusing on Kung Jin. This is the first chapter where we get to play as one of the newbies.
And Kung Jin is one of the biggest pricks ever. He is an asshole to everyone.
Seriously, that's literally his entire character. Is just that he's a jerk. He's constantly mouthing off. He doesn't respect Cassie's authority. He's just no one likes him.
Which I kind of like. I like that you think that the guy who trained with the Shaolin monks is like polite and well mannered, and here he is. It's like, hey, how come your dad died, idiot? Telling Jackie, hey, how come your dad got fucking owned like a loser?
He's voiced by Johnny Young Bosch, who is Mr. Anime.
Yeah, like the king of anime. He's been voice acting forever.
Mm-hmm. He's also Nero in Devil May Cry.
He rules. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love his voice. He's got one of the best anime yells. Eat shit, Vic Mignogna fans.
Mm-hmm.
Go lose another court case, assholes.
So they head into the Outworld markets, and we get our first encounter with Aaron Black, who's one of Kotal Khan's dudes.
Pimp. I love his design.
Oh, same. He's legit probably my favorite of the new dudes.
Any cowboys, I'm there for. I love cowboys. For some reason, I'm always a fan of like cowboy, and especially like goofy cowboy characters. The more like root and tootin' they are, the better.
Mm-hmm. It's just like it manages to be the right combo of like dumb and awesome because he's just this cowboy dude with like a Bane mask.
Yeah, he's sort of like since he has a face mask that just screams like, oh, he's a ninja, but he's a cowboy.
Mm-hmm. He's a cowboy ninja.
Cowboy
best
ninja.
kind. His backstory is that because he kind of stands out as being like the only real human dude among the Outworld crew, is that he was like an old West gunslinger whose life was extended by Shang Shun after doing a mission for him.
Oh, really? I just thought it's because Outworld time flows differently.
Nah.
I didn't know that it was actually because he got immortality essentially.
Yeah. So he goes and he stops him, and he's like, what's your business here? I'm gonna kill all of you right now. And then Kung Jin actually shows that he has like 100% persuade because he's able to talk Aaron into like not killing them.
If you ever play which is smart, if you ever play a Obsidian game, you really want to max out your speech.
He actually gives a pretty good reasoning, which is because like Aaron's also like where's your papers and all that, and you know they give it to him, but he's literally just like brushes off as like they could afford shit. But like, so Kung Jin's kind of just like, hey, well, if you will tell Kotal Khan that you kicked our asses if you bring him to us. He was like, okay,
all right, that works for me too. I like your proposition, cool. Partner.
So they bring him over to like I guess kind of his throne. I forgot what it is, but
no, they take him to like an execution thing. And
yeah, we see like a dude who's about to get like his head cut off for stealing from the market. And it's kind of like a glimpse of like even though Kotal's like better than Shao Kahn, he's still kind of a ruthless overlord dude.
Yeah, and it was literally because he stole food, and it's like you're gonna chop off my head for stealing a mouthful of bread. He just turns into Jean Valjean.
Kung Jin, of course, like immediately like sees a thief. He's like, I relate to this dude, and so he decides just to fuck up everything to go and save this dude, which is noble.
This is the second time his own impulses causes conflict because he was the one who initiated the fight with the Lin Kuei.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's he's the shitster of the group.
Definitely.
So that leads into, and of course, that gives us a nice excuse to have a big old brawl with all Kotal Khan's men.
And Ferritor shows up. And...
Oh, yep. I like them too. They're another newbie I like. They have they're unique in the.
I thought they were unique. But I just thought like their like whole like arcade ending is kind of lame because it's like, well, Tor died and Farah became the new Tor, and yep. What?
It's
you
like
want more?
No. Their dynamic is pretty much just big guy, little girl, because Farrah's like this. She's not a child, but she's just this very small woman who just hangs out on the tour.
Wait, she's not a kid?
Yeah, no, she's not.
Oh, so why can't you do any moves on her?
Probably because she's.
I always thought, like, because she's a kid, so you do not do a fatality on her because, you would get banned from every single store in America, but...
Yeah. Probably because she still looks too much like one for, be comfortable. I don't know.
Yeah, it's one of those instances. Okay.
We get another QT sequence here when, like, Farah and Chor are, like, rampaging where we get to see Kung Jin's archery skills.
Yeah, so I guess every Shaolin has, like... a weapon that they can what's weird is that it shows you like Kung Jin can make it like disappear and reappear with magic, and I guess and Kung Lao could do that, but I guess that's just something that the Shaolin can do.
Mm-hmm.
Which is like interesting. It's one of they explained one of those things that you just like what's the word, not benefit of the doubt, but like
suspension of disbelief.
Yeah, or it's one of those things. It's like one of those concessions you make with like a video game, like
fiction.
Okay.
Yeah, nah.
But no, they explain it, which is neat.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah.
Of course, it's like Noctis's ability to pull nanotech from FF15.
I still need to play that.
It's all right.
So after that, we get first fight, which is fair. Actually, no, the first fight was with Aaron Black, who's like, I trusted you guys. Why you fuck everything up?
Yeah, sadly, folks, Aaron Black's just another character.
Yeah, no. Up. Yeah, he's kind of like Kotal, where it's like the dirty little secret. This very cool looking dude is just there in the story to get beat up, and it doesn't really improve much in 11, unfortunately.
Yep, sad cowboy emoji.
After that, he beats up Farron Tor, and then like we get everyone seems overwhelmed because of war arrives with more forces, but then we get a flashback.
Before that, it's established that Cassie is Cassie swears because she'll
Oh yeah,
she'll be
oh
the
yeah.
only
It's
one
like
who'll say the F word and the S word, and she does a very lame like, what the fuck shit was this? Kung Jin, you shit waffle.
listen up, motherfuckers, because this is gonna be a shit kens of a fuck storm.
I'm having how's that one tweet go? I'm having a fucktastic of a day or something. I need drinky. Like, yeah, it's that kind of swearing. It's swearing that I absolutely detest.
I hate it. Like, just swear like a normal person.
Swear like
Don't
an
try
adult.
to be clever.
Don't swear like a kid who just found out what fuck means.
It literally just makes you sound like you're like reciting dialogue in like a bad indie movie.
Mm-hmm, definitely. Oh, God, it makes my stomach churn just thinking about it.
Yeah.
So we find out why Kung Jin believes in criminal rehabilitation and not draconian sentencing. Whoa, Queen.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Because he too was a former thief, and he tried to. Man, there's a lot of Les Mis parallels here because he's stealing something that he's stealing from a sacred religious place, much like how Valjean steals from a sacred religious place, and the religious leader there gives him a second chance at life.
Oh shit!
Whoever
wrote that.
Good tastes, my friend.
Good ass musical. So yeah, Raiden kind of confronts him, and he's like, I kind of like what they have a fight. I kind of like that the in-story reason for it because it seems implausible that like Kung Jin would be able to kick Raiden's ass, but then it's revealed afterwards that Raiden just kind of let him have that win to vent steam.
Yeah, he just gets right back up, which reminds me a lot of Slayer from Guilty Gear, who he's like a. Are you familiar with Guilty Gear characters?
I'm not.
So Slayer is like a vampire lord, and he's like super immortal. Like nothing can hurt him. In the game, his lose pose is just him on the ground being like, you won. Like, he looks bored. Like, you're beating him to boredom. He doesn't get, like, you're not beating him up. You're just beating him until he's, like, no longer interested. So it just, like, reminded me of that. Where, like...
I like that.
Yeah, where Raiden just gets back up and is like, yeah, whatever.
They have, like, a exchange, I think, either before or after that, where, like, Kung Jin's, like... where mentioned something about how he's just a common thief, and the way he says it made me like almost half expect him to start breaking into song, go like street rats.
Don't buy that. It's like, Raiden, what have dear Raiden, what have I done? Became a thief on the night, become a dog on the run. Damn it! Now I want Kung Jin to just be Jean Valjean.
Me too.
He just becomes a mayor. Parole? I ain't got to do that shit.
Also, obviously, he's part of the reason why he beats up Raiden, aside from just you know the stealing shit thing, is he's very understandably angry for him for kind of being the reason Kung Lao's dead.
Which, yeah, it is his fault. This is a recurring theme in this entire story, at least with Raiden, that Raiden is constantly reminded of his major fuck-up and major fuck-ups in MK9.
Mm-hmm. And he just feels like complete shit about it, understandably.
Definitely. So...
Yep. There's also one scene there that kind of got talked about where, like, near the end, after Raiden and Kung Jin kind of make up and, like, Raiden's like, you should rejoin the Shaolin monks, dude. And Kung Jin's like, I don't know. I don't know if they like me being, And Raiden's like, they're not gonna care. They don't care who you love, just what's in your heart. And I think that was like, I think the devs confirmed that was meant to be their way of showing that Kung Jin's gay.
You know, it's a better way of telling a character is gay.
Just don't be gay.
Just have him be fucking gay.
Mm-hmm.
Be straightforward with it. Don't do this song and dance pussyfooting, I despise it. I absolutely hate it.
I hate it. It's just like it's worse because everyone who does it thinks they're just being like super fucking radical. It's like, no, you're not.
And it's like people need to realize that sexuality is a lot like one's ethnicity. It's like this immutable thing about them that it's like you're not gonna have a character who's black be like, oh man, I don't know, I think I might be black. It's like, no, they're black.
Exactly.
It just drives me off a wall, and
it's not like this game came out in like 1950 or something.
And it's one of those things where and because it's so ambiguous, I didn't catch it the first time. I was like, what are they talking about? I don't care. And it's like one of those things that is so vague that it becomes white noise. You know what I mean?
Yeah, nah, I agree.
Ugh. Stop doing this. It's annoying. I know this game is 5 years old, but there's stuff that still does this today.
Mm-hmm. It's very common.
And it's annoying, and I hate it, and it gives me agita.
Yep.
So we cut back to the present, and Kotal Khan shows up, and he's like, "What the fuck is going on?" And Cassie's like, "Oh, we're here because of secret CIA reasons. Also, I guess Melina has Shinnok's amulet. She's just basically spilling her guts in terms of like the intel that they have.
Mm.
So she's like, she's showing her hand. She doesn't know how to like do any diplomacy. She's showing her hand, and like, it just shows you that Cassie's a bit of an idiot.
Yeah. A running theme in this game with almost everyone, unfortunately.
Definitely, and then Kung Jin uses his outworld knowledge to good use.
Oh yeah, no, this was a legit clever moment.
I guess when you become a what's it called? A part of the Earth Special Forces, they don't educate you at all about Outworld and their customs. They're just basically like, figure it out.
Seems like a bit of an oversight, but you know, who am I to judge?
Remember, these are the same people who got duped by the leader of the Black Dragon.
So Kung Jin is like, hey, dude, I think this is like the only time Mortal Kombat, like the concept of Mortal Kombat's mentioned in this game.
Yeah, apparently it's like a duel. And it's a duel that one cannot turn down no matter what, because you look like a mad pussy if you do.
Exactly. And Kotal Khan's like, oh yeah, sure, I'll kill you, dude. But of course, Kung Jin defies the odds and beats Kotal Khan's ass, and everyone's just like, what the fuck? It kind of, looking at that scene, it's like, I'm just thinking of how insane it is. It'd be the equivalent of like you challenge the president of the United States to a fist fight, and if you won, you could just snap his neck and be the new president.
It's ridiculous. Also, it's like you just played as Kotal Khan 2 chapters ago.
Mm-hmm.
You just played as him, and now you're playing as this guy who has a magical bow, not even all that magical, and you beat Kung Jin. You beat Kotal Khan on your first try. It's ridiculous.
I know.
Devora's right there. He could have been like, all right, Devora could have been like, I'll fight on your behalf, you know?
I know.
But that doesn't happen.
No, Cole does it because he's got honor, and honor makes you stupid, I guess.
But also, it's just like, you gotta protect this guy, you know? You gotta...
Yeah, you
can't have him job out to... You can't have... This is like, whenever they have Braun Strowman job out to Roman Reigns, it's like, what the fuck are you doing?
I know. So after that, Kotal's like, you know, he's just like, okay, kill me, get it over with quickly. But, you know, since Kung Jin thankfully recognized that'd probably be stupid and cause chaos, even more chaos in that realm, so he's just like, no, well, you know, you can be I think it's like he gives him like a life debt thing where it's like, just help us out instead.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, so now Outworld and Special Forces are temporary, awkward allies.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank God. Kong Jin is there. They would have fought. Like he's the only one who like had any clue as to what needs to be done.
I know. Like he's the one that possesses like the 3 brain cells.
Oh my God, yeah. Really shows you like, oh, you don't have a lot. I don't have a lot of faith in these newbies. All right, next chapter. We have chapter. Which one is this?
5.
5. Chapter 5. Sonya. I love that Sonya hates Kano so much he can feel his presence. You know what I mean?
Nah, it's cool.
She can just feel him.
It's another thing that just feels super anime in like the best way.
Definitely.
That reminds me, it was in one of like the PS2 games, but I remember there's one where like Kano literally has like wears a locket with like a Sonya's hair in it.
That's one of the weird aspects of Sonya's character is that people are just super horny for her.
After we see initially, we get another scene where Johnny's like, you know, why aren't you paying attention to us? You and Cassie.
Aren't they? How long have these guys been? I wonder how long these guys have been divorced for. Because this is like a conversation you would have like a month after divorce. You know what I mean?
I know. Like, lots of like.
I have written down to be a fly in the room of that divorce court hearing.
Oh my God. Yeah.
So we go to the past. Sonya and Johnny Cage go into Quan Chi's lair.
Yep, it's kind of like used as a way to immediately contrast their present relationship, because like the moment we're in the past, they're like joking around and stuff, and everything's way more lighthearted between them.
Definitely.
Yeah, and of course they're finally about to confront Quan Chi, and they encounter him and also Scorpion, Sub-Zero, and Jax. They're also very undead and evil.
Yeah, take note of who's here in this room with them.
Yeah, this will be important.
Let's see. Jax, Sonya faced Scorpions, and I'm just saying that these Revenants are such jobbers that like you're led to believe that they're like powered up versions of their human forms, but no, they're just easily as defeatable as before.
Yep.
Jax stabs Johnny, and then we see in that little pool thing, Johnny's like his Revenant's being formed.
Yeah, he's kind of like he's kind of hanging between life and death, and Raiden reveals that he has the ability to reverse the effects of the Revenant. That'll be very important. I know.
It's like, what did he just? Has Raiden dabbled in necromancy? It's like, oh yeah, I took some in college.
Yeah, I know. They don't really. I guess they don't really need to explain beyond he's an elder god, so I guess he just has some purification power.
Like, yeah, okay.
Well, they also established that Quan Chi need Quan Chi to be alive, which will be very important later.
Yeah, okay. So then Jax, and then she fights Sonya. Sonya has a like God of War 3 style QTE sequence where you just pressing buttons to just beat the fuck out of someone.
I know. She does it to Quan Chi, and I will admit it was super fucking cathartic for me when I first played it, because at that point, not even just 9, but in the PS2 games, Quan Chi always wins. He pretty much always gets away with everything.
Yeah, he always escapes. He always gets away with it, and it's like, finally, I caught you, you motherfucker.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's pretty much as much of a benefit to the long-time player as is to Sonya, and like she just fucks him up, and the climaxes with her kicking him in the balls.
Yeah.
And after that, like with Quan Chi defeated, Raiden's able to successfully save Johnny, and not only that, but he manages to save Jax, Scorpion, and Sub-Zero and make him human again.
Only them.
Only that, because they're the only ones in the room.
Which I thought, oh, he must have freed everyone, then I forgot. No, the Revenants, there's still more Revenants. It's really confusing how this spell works.
Yeah.
I guess you gotta force Quan Chi to do it? I don't know.
Yeah, it's weird. Because Quan Chi's like... I think it's because Quan Chi's unconscious, like it severs his connection with them.
Ah, okay.
So Raiden can like work his magic.
Okay. Yeah. Alright. Cut back to the present. There's like a long line of them like taking record of taking a census of who's there. which Outworlders are there. And then you see a really funny shot of like Kano wearing a cloak sort of thing, camouflage, that's giving him like a new face.
Yeah, he looks like a random young woman, I think.
And then it turns into his big old Australian man face for like a split second.
Yes.
One thing that really bugs me is that why didn't Kenshi just be like, all right, let me just look into the thoughts of all these people, and let me just look for a random Australian going, oh, I hope they don't find me. I'll be proper fucked if they did.
Shut.
You know, it's like, that would have been so much easier. Instead, it's like Sonya just like, oh, how come that woman's how come that woman's face flickers from woman to hairy man face? You know what I mean?
Yes.
That just makes it seem like it's a coincidence. So your last fight in this chapter is Sonya versus Kano, and Sonya is like, she wants to kill Kano so bad, and can you really blame her?
No, Kano's just a piece. He's probably one of the biggest pieces of shit in like the entire MK canon.
Not even a thorn. It's like a branch in her side. Her entire like career as a I don't know, military lady.
Yeah, it's been plagued by him. Like he's pretty much caused her shit for just ever.
Decades. But unfortunately, he may know the location of the amulet, so they can't kill him. But I have it written in my notes. You know, for a series that's about how badly you can brutally murder your opponent, there's a very big no killing stance in this game story mode.
Yeah, I know. I guess it's just like a generic good guy thing where it's like, you know, we don't do that.
It is kind of jarring when you think about it.
Yeah, that's all he is.
Because it's like, oh yeah, it's kind of weird to write heroes that kill that are anti-heroes, but it's also kind of weird that we're such a violent
society
game. But at the same time, but you know, now I think about it, that new animated movie that's coming out, it looks like that the heroes are going to be killing a whole lot.
I guess it's more justified there because they're in a tournament where it's kill or be killed.
And you're fighting these guards that are trying to kill you, so yeah. This is just one of those weird concessions.
Yeah. The only silver lining there is even though Sony couldn't kill Kano, at least like she finally captured him.
Yeah, finally, that slippery snake.
Yep.
So now it's
Chapter 6.
Chapter 6, we're Chapter Devora.
Yep, we're in the halfway point now.
Devora, oh, she's one of the better new additions.
Oh, I love her. Yeah, she's awesome.
And she's hot.
Great design. She's just like I mean, it's a good concept for a Mortal Kombat game. Just a creepy, evil bug woman.
I know, and she's like the yellow female. Well, actually, Tanya is. Never mind. But one thing that's funny about Devora's like evolution is that if you compare her look in this game and the look in the next game, you can tell that they had zero clue. They had zero clue to like all the people online who want to fuck monster girls. Because they kind of made her more gross in the next game, but then that had me think, no, you're just making them stronger. that only increases their horny.
Exactly. It reminds me of recently, one of the guys who designed XCOM 2 was like, when I made these giant snake girls in this game, I had no idea people would be into it.
Bull.
I know.
That is the most like, not me, you know, like you don't kid yourself. Let's see. So it's a flashback. We see that Reptile, Kotal, and Devora are planning a coup. We see this weird, like, character development for Reptile that this entire time he's well-spoken and not just some weird, like, quiet, silent monster guy. Yeah,
he's like... Because, he doesn't speak in 9. He just makes a bunch of grunts and stuff.
And here he is, well, I think that we should, do something about this, Melina. In fact, her rule is quite illegitimate. That's always my favorite, like, reveals in something where it's revealed that someone is actually pretty smart this entire time.
Mm-hmm. I like it too because it kind of show Reptile's character arc, not just in the like new trilogy, but in the old Mortal Kombat games. He's always been defined by the fact that he just kind of throws himself into whatever new like big bad appears because he just sees himself as a dude. He only cares about bringing his people back, and he'll just team up, partner with anyone. They'll do it.
Who made ungenocide his race? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Apparently, he's like one of the last remaining few. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And here it's like, this is the first game where it feels like he has kind of a backbone now, because he's not going to take Melina's shit anymore. He's like, no.
Man, Melina's rule must be so fucking bad. We don't see how she rules Outworld, but it must have been so fucking bad that, like, nobody's banging with it. You know what I mean?
It's kind of like, we know, like, her nickname at this point is just the Mad Empress, so it's kind of like I'm going to fuck up the name, Caligula, like, you know what I'm talking about?
Caligula?
Yeah, kind of like that. Just like just crazy ass rulers just killing people and doing other evil shit for the sake of it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's kind of why I inferred from it.
Interesting. All right. So we have Devora. Yes, I have Melina as a bad ruler and a fake fail daughter. Like she was created in a magic lab, and she's still a fail daughter.
Exactly. They bring it up too because they're like, you don't actually have any legitimate claim aside from Shao Kahn's word, and he's dead now. So
yeah, you've been synthesized, and you're still a failure.
And just to add to it, immediately Ermac turns on her.
Like, yeah.
Ermac's just like, I don't like anymore.
Which is funny, because, like, isn't Ermac supposed to be, like, a brain, like, literally made to, be loyal? Like, you can just program him or something? Use whatever kind of magic to just tell the opponent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My theory is maybe after because I know, like, I think in the last game they established that Shao Kahn's, like, was the one kind of powering him with souls and shit. Maybe after he died, he started gaining independence and self-awareness.
Interesting. Okay. All right, I can buy that.
Mm-hmm. So at this point, like, pretty much all of Melina's guys have turned on her except for Baraka, who's like a...
I think it's because Baraka's a Tarkatan simp. I'm sorry, but...
Exactly.
He's like, damn, she's kind of nice with it. So he's like, fine. And that simpitude costs him his life, because not only does he lose his fight with Devora, he gets fatalitied.
This is, I think, the only instance in the entire, like, new trilogy where we get, like, a fatality presented in game for you to do.
Yeah. It's the only time you can do a fatality, which is weird. It's like a whole game about fatalities, and this is the first time you see an actual execution like this. That's weird.
I know, it feels like a missed opportunity. I would have liked to, like, have those interactive fatalities a few more times.
But then when you start killing characters, that creates a problem of, well, we don't have this character here anymore. Well,
I want to do it like every fight, but, like, maybe like a few times per game. It would be cool.
Yeah, instead of, like, imagine if you could have played as Sindel and you did fatalities after.
Dude, that would have been so fucking cool.
Like that, it would have put it in your hand instead of, like, having them all get killed by one move. But whatever.
Yeah, there's also a cool moment before, like, she fatalities him, where, like, she sees Cole Khan in the distance and he gives, like, the gladiator thumbs down, or like the Triple H thumbs down.
Yeah. And then she does the what's that move called? Oh, the electric chair.
So yeah, Baraka's deader than dead. Rip. And we go back to the present.
Yeah, they go to the jungle camp where the rebels are hiding, and this is where Rain just says, "Yeah, I'm totally gonna betray Melina. What about it? Do something about it, bitch."
There's also a part where, like, they encounter Tanya, and, like, Tanya, like, says in, like, the most hilariously, like, bitchy Valley Girl voice about how, like, she thought, Devora thought Indenia's left her alone because they respect her people's independence, but actually we just don't like you.
Which is funny. Which, I mean, yeah, we see more divorced people in the next game, and then just like they're a big weird bug colony. Like I would steer clear too.
Same.
Bugs are weird. I mean, listen to how Devora speaks. She says this. She refers to herself as this one, and it's like very odd.
I think she's literally just like a vessel for the bugs. Like she's not just one person. She's kind of like Oogie Boogie.
Oh yeah, okay. Oh, that's even weirder. Oh, I love the shot of like Tanya is like she's mounted on Cassie and she just starts fucking wailing on Cassie's face.
I know.
Just punching her repeatedly in the face. And I'm like, damn, Cassie sucks. Then we have Devora versus Tanya. Then Devora reveals that like the line on her stomach is actually some kind of like orifice that can open and release bugs.
I know, it's very weird and disturbing, and even Cassie's like, you.
It's like, okay. You just do that. Guess it's a thing now. The next fight is Devora versus Melina, and so Devora defeats Melina and then brings her to Kotal, where Kotal's like, alright, take care of her, and first we see, first I think, alright, Monster Girl's kissing, and then all of a sudden, like, Melina's face starts melting.
It's so fucking gross.
Oh, yeah, it is so gross. Also, NetherRealm Studios, you're cowards. You copped out and gave Melina human lips and a human jaw.
Oh yeah, she's like...
And she just has teeth on her cheeks. Lame, cringe, I'm unsubscribing.
Hard agree.
You go all out on your Monster Girl designs or don't even fucking bother, alright? But I'm serious, it's like, it's kind of disappointing.
Yeah, I think it's a step down.
It's like, no, go... Like, she's supposed to have a Gross Star Cotton face. That's the whole point.
Yeah, it's like the exactly.
The comic of Johnny Cage, like, have you ever seen that comic where it's like,
yeah,
give him a blowjob, and he's like smiling, and then he has like a
Yes, I do.
So yeah, we're now. I guess this is just to show you that Outworld has these very, very like draconian ways, no matter who's the leader.
It's because like literally after they deal with Melina, like Kotal immediately like makes the newbies prisoners.
Yeah, and he even points out the problem with treaties and accords. It's like, all right, enforce them. You know.
Yeah.
You can make treaties all day, but when they have to be enforced somehow, and this is how they enforce them, which is send three idiots and one guy who knows what he's doing.
Also, Kotal's kind of he's not happy that they like left him out of the decision to, keep the amulet in the first place.
Definitely. I mean, yeah,
so
he is the king, so it makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. So so he keeps the newbies hostage as kind of leverage for the special forces. And then just he has his loyal servant, very loyal servant, Devora, take the amulet for safekeeping.
Yeah, don't worry, Kotal, you can trust me. Wink. And then she immediately goes to talk to Quan Chi.
It turns out this whole time she was just a plan for Quan Chi.
No longer 3D chess master, he's a 4D chess master.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's playing checkers, he's playing chess.
Exactly. And so, of course, now, like, their plans one step closer. So after that, we get our next chapter, which focuses on Takada.
Before that, we cut to the farm.
Yeah. We got into pro
Yep, I got
Jax.
my farm, working on my farm. I love my farm. And,
it's this very comic visual where he's like wearing like a plaid shirt and overalls, but he still has his big mechanical arms. Me too.
What I really like about this scene is like he's content where he is in life. He's healing from his trauma. His trauma, and Sony's like, "Come on, Jax. I know you have severe trauma, but don't you want to save the day again?"
I know
she's a hero.
She's so weirdly callous about it because she's also like, I get what you mean. I would have totally killed myself years ago if I was like Quan Chi's slave.
Fuck. Wait, she really? I must have missed that. That's horrible. What a bitch.
I know she says something like that. Like, she's trying to make it sound like, Jax is a strong person, but it's kind of like a very insensitive thing to say.
That's horrible. Holy shit.
I know.
Oh, that made my stomach churn. Like, this guy has, like, probably the worst PTSD on the planet. Like, worse than any soldier can ever have, because he was literally turned into a mind slave for, like, who knows how long. A decade, yeah. And now he's, like, healed, and no shit, he doesn't want anything to do with, like, any of this stuff.
just let him retire.
Leave him alone. So they're on the boat, and they're all, like, complaining about, like,
their families,
and Cassie's like, well, yeah, my mom's a general, but it's hard, And I'm like, oh, she's just the John McCain of this universe. Just a military brat of a very, very high-ranking official who was
Meghan McCain. You said John McCain, so I was
well, actually, no. It's more John McCain, because John McCain's actual military career was that he was the son of an admiral.
Oh,
and they made him a pilot, and he was a terrible pilot. Absolutely horrible. Crashed his fucking plane all the time, and the reason why he got captured was, unfortunately, because he crashed his fucking plane because he's a terrible pilot, but they made him a pilot because his dad is the admiral. So it's like a clear product of nepotism, and that's what Cassie Cage is. She's nepotism. Like no way around it. She's a product of like being the daughter of the general. And so far she's proven to be kind of incompetent. I mean, she fucks up like trying to discuss anything with she fucks up her attempts at diplomacy. She gets beaten up by Tanya. It's like she's way over her head.
I know, totally. Like, I literally can't think of anything she's done so far that, like, has made, like, a positive had a positive effect on the group. Like, like you said, Kung Jin kind of saved their lives back in Outworld. Devore did everything when they stormed Melina's compound.
And here we see in this chapter, Takeda, like, gets them off the boat.
Oh, yeah, Takeda has a cool moment where, like, he does, like, a kind of Jedi mind trick where he makes, like, the guard that approaches him's mind completely blank, so he just stands there and then he takes his key and gets out.
Yeah, it's like great. That's how it should be, because Takeda's the son of a telepath, and it makes sense.
Yeah.
And, we get a flashback. Speaking of, we get a flashback to Takeda passing his ninja trial.
Yeah.
And we also see that
Scorpion's
human, and now he's going
he's
by
Hanzo.
Hanzo.
Yep, his real name.
And it's revealed that Kenshi is a deadbeat dad.
I know. Yeah, like, Takada just views Hanzo as, like, his real daddy, and then, like, the moment Kenshi shows up, he's like, "What are you doing here?"
My real dad. My dad is a cool skeleton guy.
It turns out that Scorpion, I'm just gonna call him Hanzo from here, like, deliberately, like, set up this meme between them.
His people skills still need work. He's been a revenant for a while now. He doesn't know how human emotions work yet. If you think about it, I'm pretty sure like Scorpion's like hundreds of years old. Let's see. We see so we see Takeda versus Kenshi, and then I have it like written like, why didn't the Shiryu tell Takeda why Kenshi has him there? Because instead they reveal like, oh, I put you here for your own good, and it's like, well, okay, but that still doesn't explain why you just didn't tell him why his mom died.
Yeah, that's like needlessly secretive.
It's like what is this, a fucking soap opera?
It's super soap opera. But Takada kind of starts understanding why Kenshi was like absent for his life, even though he's still understandably not happy about it.
They could have written it so it was like Takeda and Scorpion raised him in the arts of being a ninja and being telepath, but they decided not to. I don't know why.
Homophobia.
Yeah, you're probably right.
So I get. I'll say one.
Okay,
One thing I kind of like about the dynamic between Kenshi and Takada is it contrasts with kind of the other kids, where where Sonya is very distant from her mother, who's like super strict, but like Takada, meanwhile Kenshi's like really kind towards his son and like supportive, but Takada is just since they never knew each other, there's still this distance between them.
Yeah, have you ever seen Metalocalypse?
Oh yeah, I have.
So it's like that one episode where they're all talking about their dads, and all of them seem to have horrible relationships with their dad, except for Nathan. And he's like, "No, what are you talking about? I hang out with my dad all the time." And like shows a montage of them like doing activities together, like smiling, and he cuts back to like, "Yeah, I fucking love my dad." It just has that same energy. Like Takeda's like, "I don't know what you guys are on about. I fucking love my dads."
Oh, before there's actually one scene, like small scene, very early in the game I liked, where where all the parents are kind of meeting up with their kids, and like Kenshi starts casually telepathically communicating with his son.
Yeah, he's like, "Oh, don't worry, sport. You get beat up by Sub-Zero, but I'm still very proud of you. I love you, son." It's like, damn, this is like the only wholesome father-son relationship in this whole series.
Mm-hmm.
Every dad in this, I guess Johnny and Cassie, but
Johnny, yeah.
Johnny has too much of that divorced dad energy.
I guess Jack's and Jackie too, but it's also kind of Jax has to deal with his PTSD and reluctance to let Jackie join the military.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So yeah, after that we go back into the present.
Yeah, so Takeda gets him off the boat. Then he gets him.
We meet the job squad.
We meet the fucking job squad.
Of Reptile, Aaron, and Ermac.
Yeah, Reptile is the eternal jobber, Aaron Black is the newcomer jobber, and Ermac is the jobber that you think isn't a jobber, but really is a jobber.
He's like the Kane.
He's like Kane, where sometimes he may beat a guy, sometimes maybe.
he'll fuck up like the lower card dudes just to establish he's dangerous, but like the moment he's in a championship match with John Cena, he loses hard.
Oh yeah, like 4 weeks up to the build, he will choke slam someone into a car roof or electrocute someone's balls, but then when it comes time for the pay-per-view, just loses so unambiguously. Let's see.
We get another Q2E sequence here where Reptile turns invisible to try to defeat Takeda, and Takeda just no-sells all the shit.
Let me look around in the mental field here. Let me just look for a guy who's thinking like a reptile.
Yeah.
Just use your mind powers to just look for the invisible person. He's like, well, I hope he doesn't see that I'm standing right here. Let's see.
It climaxes him with literally just grabbing Reptile's tongue and just fists and north style pounding him.
Yeah.
So yeah, Reptile's the second fight beats his ass.
He beats up Ermac, and then he beats up. He beats up Aaron Black, and then he tries to read Ermac's mind, but he can't because Ermac's got 1,000 souls all screaming at once.
Yeah, just an overload.
So they all escape, and they're wondering where. And the Kodo, and we cut back to the Kodo crew, and the Kodo crew are like, "Where's Devora? Hey, where's Devora?"
Yeah.
And they're like, "I think he might have betrayed us." Oh,
no! I should not beforehand. Before they start beating up the newbies, the job squad was investigating. There's a scene beforehand where Devora's with two of Kodo's guards carry the case that has the amulets, and she immediately just turns and just has her bugs eat their faces.
Yeah.
And takes it, and then when we in the next chapter, Aaron, Reptile, and Ermac are examining the guards' corpses, are this seems all these bugs, that seems like something Devora would do. What do you think, guys?
Yeah, master detectives we have here. Yeah, we have them like discussing, they realize that Devore betrays them, and they think, and Kodo deducts that it might be that she betrayed them to work with Raiden instead of Quan Chi, which is very interesting actually.
It is. And of course, that causes the rift that's already between Earthrealm and Outworld at this point to like them go divide even further.
Yeah, because the reason why it makes sense is because who had just came to you to get that amulet? The people from Earthrealm. Where's the amulet? It's gone. Huh? It must have been Earthrealm. Like he's not being dumb here. He's actually like he has every reason to believe it. To believe that it's Earthrealm.
Nah, it's perfectly logical. So
Jax.
Yep. So Jax decides to take up Sony's offer anyway, which is she specifies that they only want her as an observer because he's been he's the one that's been possessed by Quan Chi, so he knows what it's like. But obviously he's gonna fight.
Yeah. Much to his therapist's chagrin, he goes there to basically offer advice on how to deal with revenants and. We also meet Serena, who is another informant type who's aiding them in the Netherrealm.
Yeah, she was in the PSU era canon. She was one of Actually, I think she was introduced in that Sub-Zero spinoff from the 90s.
Yeah, I believe she's a part of like
she's
one, the Red Dragon or the Black Dragon?
I thought she was like one of Quan Chi's people.
Really? Oh no, I have it as she's part of the Red Dragon. I looked her up and
let me look at Wikipedia here. Let's see.
Serena. I mean, she looks like a mythic. You know what I mean? Like her whole like gray hair and the
she was an assassin. Yeah, she was an assassin that worked for Quan Chi.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
So here we see her, and so she's one of the many people that Quan Chi has like fucked around with.
Yep. And of course, she's firmly a good guy though now, but she's another person that worked with Quan Chi in the past and knows what he's like. Gives him the 411, but
so Revenant Kung Lao talks shit, and Jax is like, fuck you, buddy, and then beats him up, and Jax is back. Who knew that this would be the cure to his crippling trauma? Was just punching people again.
Oh, before that, they when they first entered the Netherrealm, Quan Chi and the Reverends are all like riding on these giant demon horses.
Yeah, they all.
Cool.
It's very metal.
And all the horses immediately get killed by like the special forces dude shooting at them. They don't last long.
Some kind of horses they are.
So after that, Jax beats up Kung Lao, and then he has like a short scene where like he struggles with Sindel, where they almost fall off a cliff, and then he fights her. She's another.
Yeah, this is a really ridiculous moment because he's hanging off a bridge, and she's stomping on his hand. And he's like going, "Ow, my hand!" I'm like, what the fuck? Isn't it metal?
Like they just like put pain receptors on or something.
Why did I program my arms to feel pain?
But then afterwards, like Jax like drags her down, so she has to like use her hair to like hang on to like the rock thingy, and then that forces her to pull both of them up to safety or something.
Yeah, thankfully she doesn't break her neck or anything or decapitate herself. Could you imagine if like a very graphic scene where like her head just like rips off from the weight of like pulling them both up, and Jack's like pulling, and Jack's pulling.
Jack's like, I should have thought this through more.
He's like, oh.
But thankfully that doesn't happen, and Jax has a fight with her. Sindel's the third and final of like kind of the not playable but you can still fight them gang. And like Baraka and Rain, she's just just all her same moves from the last game. So Quan Chi beats her up, and oh my god, Jax beats her up, and then he encounters Katana.
Yeah, I like that Jax beats Sindel too, because that's the person who killed her.
Yes,
using the heel of her shoe, which is a very brutal way of killing someone.
Mm-hmm.
But it's good. It's like getting redemption.
Yeah.
Or not retribution.
Yeah. And there's an interesting exchange he has with Katana where like Jax is kind of like, do you actually like any of this, Katana, being like this? Because I remember all of this and I feel horrible over it. And Katana tells him that she loves being a Revenant because it means she's not a victim anymore.
That's so weird.
It
because
is.
It's like... aren't they supposed to be mind slaves? Like, they've been brainwashed. So, yeah, of course they like being evil because they've been corrupted to think that way.
Exactly.
Like, don't even bother try to argue morality with them. They don't have any concept of morality anymore. They're gone.
Mm-hmm. So then, Jax kicks Katana's ass, and then Quan Chi and Liu Kang escape into, I guess, Quan Chi's lair, and Jax follows them. It should be noted. It should be noted at this point that Quan Chi's he looks much like he's way thinner now. And it's like they established in the universe that he's like super weak compared to used to because Shinnok's not there to power him.
I didn't notice that he got skinnier. Wow, that's a cool detail. I also think that and then like I believe Liu Kang challenges him, and Liu Kang is like, he's saying like, "Oh, this is all Raiden's fault." So whatever, I don't care. And I'm like, oh, that one makes sense the most because he should be pissed. He should be the most pissed because Raiden did fuck up and did kill and like did fuck him over the worst.
Yeah, so he's kind of totally justified in still being pissed off about that. It's actually
like even if he was a Revenant, he would probably be a bad guy.
It's actually kind of interesting. It's something I'll talk about in the ending because it's one interpretation you can kind of give of Liu Kang and sort of the other reverence is that they still, to an extent, kind of care about protecting Earthrealm. They just think everyone in charge of doing so is incompetent.
Interesting.
But yeah, so we get another Q2E sequence here where Liu Kang just, blasts Jax over and over again. He just keeps dodging him.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get into our fight. Jax wins, and he finally captures Quan Chi. Yay!
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 He ascertained and secured Quan Chi to a permanent compromise.
So after that, thing seems to be looking up, at least for the special forces, but then we get our next chapter, which is Scorpion. And
and I'm like, why would Scorpion want to show up to Quan Chi? I mean, what could possibly make Scorpion come to our little humble refugee camp? Who could possibly be here that would, be such a great motivator for him to come? Hi, Scorpion, what's up?
Yep. So Hanzo or Scorpion shows up with his sheer Ryu dudes who are like and they just. It's kind of interesting because it shows that even though he's obviously super fucking vengeful here, he's still way less ruthless than he was as like a Spectre because he instructs his men beforehand to wound but not kill.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I like that little detail because like he's there for one simple reason, and that's he wants to take care of this asshole who ruined his life.
Mm-hmm.
So much though that Sonya tries to tell him, "Hey man, don't you want the other guys to be free?" And he's like, "Fuck them."
I was so confused because I wonder if he doesn't understand why Quan Chi needs to be alive and they don't have time to explain to him, because otherwise it just makes Scorpion look really callous.
Yeah, really selfish.
Mm-hmm.
So he fights Sonya and beats her up, and then it's a little night. I think this is like a moment where like Shira and Ryu like take her away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like they pick her up and gently take her away. I was like, oh, that's a nice. It's like it keeps in with the whole like he's not evil.
Yeah, he's not here to kill everyone. He just wants Quan Chi. He encounters Johnny Cage, and they have like another QT off.
Yeah, they all pose too, which is really funny.
It is.
It's like, why are you guys wasting time posing? Aren't you supposed to be like stopping one another?
There's always time to do a cool pose, man.
Oh yeah, you know what? You're right.
Yeah.
Damn it! I hate when you're right.
Thank you. So, but cool poses aren't enough to stop Scorpion, though. He beats up Johnny Cage. And then after that, though, we get very pivotal moments, not just in this game, but probably in the entire franchise, where we flash back to exactly how... Because, keep in mind, as of the last game, Scorpion still just thinks Bihan, Sub-Zero 1, killed his family.
Mm-hmm.
So this flashback shows how he learned the truth, and he's in the Lin Kuei's kind of temple, and Sub-Zero invited him over, and Scorpion's still very pissed off. But
yeah, and then Sub-Zero offers him like a tea, tea to build a bridge between the two.
Mm-hmm.
And in the reflection of the teacup, and in the reflection of that thing, we see Frost.
Oh shit!
Frost.
Yep, another PS2 era character, back again. But
yeah, I thought this was cool. Plus, it's like one of those holy shit, it's Frost, because like Frost is one of those characters that you remember because she has like ice hair.
Mm-hmm. She's like, even though Sub-Zero's trying to keep everything peaceful, Frost is still remembering all the old grudges between the Lin Kuei and Dishiai Ryu, and so she tries to kill Scorpion.
Yeah, what's funny about her that even though she has ice for hair, she's a hothead.
Irony.
So yeah, much like whenever Christopher fucks up Tony's deals with New York, Frost does the same thing here by like jumping the gun and almost fucking up the entire deal. So I can just imagine the car ride home. So she was like, "Now I gotta unfuck what you just fucked. How am I gonna do that?"
That leads to a fight between Sub-Zero and Scorpion. Scorpion wins. But then Frost comes back and she's literally charging at Scorpion with a dagger, and Sub-Zero saves Scorpion. And that's
by freezing her in place. Which shows you that this was not planned.
Nah. And yeah, that's what makes Scorpion realize, okay, maybe I'll listen to you. And then we get we kind of find out what happened to the Cyber Lin Kuei, since again, as of 9, it seemed like they were all cyberized, and here they're normal. We learned that after Sub-Zero became human again, he went to Lin Kuei, killed Sector, became the new Grandmaster, and restored everything to normal. And then
yep.
And while he was digging through Sector's corpse, he found this video message between him and Quan Chi, where Quan Chi's like, "Hey Sector, what's up? By the way, I murdered Scorpion's family, just in case you forgot." And
yeah, this guy can't stop being the master schemer, the guy who makes everything in the background happen. I have written down, he is like the 6D everyone is playing checkers, and Quan Chi is playing like an RTS. He's playing Civ 6. That's how many levels of planning and all that shit he's on.
Exactly.
Oh, it rules.
But that finally, makes Scorpion realize the truth, and he and Sub-Zero, after, pretty much being canon rivals for, literally the entire franchise, finally make up.
And become friends.
Yeah, it's a nice moment. It's one thing I really like kind of about the last two Mortal Kombat games, is some fighting games kind of seem afraid to evolve their characters. Because they don't want them to lose what makes them iconic or whatever, so they're always kind of exactly the same. But
yeah, there's a lot of stagnation in these types of games that Ryu is still training for something, and I don't know what the whole deal in Tekken is, but there's still, but here we at least see changes happening.
Yes,
there is progression. There is stuff going on.
Mm-hmm. It makes the characters, even though they're not super deep or whatever, it still makes them feel more 3-dimensional.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, Sub-Zero and Scorpion are now true bros, and Scorpion goes out to destroys Quan Chi.
Now he wants. I imagine Scorpion didn't really like Quan Chi to begin with, but now he's super duper motivated to fucking kill him, because this guy has been the sole reason for his suffering for his entire life. No, he must die in his mind.
Mm-hmm. No, exactly. Like like he's literally been manipulating Scorpion. He straight up denies him his like original thing. Like he mentions it later on when he's being up with Quan Chi. Here, he literally like fucked up his one chance to actually bring his family and clan back.
Yeah, because he trolled him super hard back in 9. Yeah.
Nah. So yeah, Scorpion is going to kill him, and nothing is going to stop him, and that's exactly what happens.
So we think that there's one point where we think that Quan Chi's going to get away again, but then all of a sudden a giant spear goes through his chest, and we hear "Get over here!" in the classic Ed Boon voice.
It's super hype.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, thank God.
and then just to like finalize it, Scorpion loops his head off. But before then, Quan Chi like recite. Should be noted before all that, Devora shows up and she gives Quan Chi the medallion.
And he starts reciting he starts saying some like gibberish.
That's literally what it is. Even the captions is just gibberish. It doesn't mean anything.
It's gibberish. And we see and we see as soon as Scorpion cuts its head off, Shinnok is free.
Yep. Way to fucking go, Scorpion.
Quan Chi, my God, even in death, he is 50,000 steps ahead of everyone.
He's always winning. Even after he like dies, literally Shinnok and Devora just spend a minute going, Quan Chi's so cool, man. He just planned everything. Too bad he's dead.
Shouts to a real one. He died for our sins. You know what I mean?
So after, of course, now things are just super, super bad because Shinnok just starts wreaking havoc.
Well, before he starts doing anything, we cut to the Sky Temple, and fucking Baraicho is there, and he meets with Raiden, and they're like, I have an inkling that guy, Shinnok, yeah, you remember him? I feel like he's gonna come back. We should do something about him. And Raiden's like, alright, I'll squeeze him in. Mm-hmm. So we cut to and like Raiden says like, "Oh man, I'm so full of regret," and then we cut to a flashback that
this is
to an event that I don't know when it happened.
It happened during 9. Okay, first of all, this is now we're on chapter 10, Raiden's a viewpoint character, and the flashback is during the start of the Mortal Kombat 2 section when like Outworld's invading, and like Raiden tells Liu Kang and Kung Lao to stay behind to protect, save the monks that are getting captured.
Oh,
this is that.
This is where they were.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
I thought this was like some weird like retcon event where it's like, oh, here is this weird moment that I don't remember ever happening. Okay, I can.
Yeah.
Okay, now I buy it more. I buy it more. Yeah, so we get back to the boat, and we see Devora's there. So this is the retcon part where they're just saying, oh yeah, Devora was there the whole time. She just didn't really play that much of a role in MK9's story, but she was always been there. Don't worry.
Yep. And she's just totally shitting on Baraka and just like saying, you guys are a bunch of mooks. You're just a race of mooks.
And Raiden fights Baraka, and even though Baraka's dead in the story, he jobs one more time.
It's so sad.
This guy can't escape it. He's stuck being the most losingest character in Mortal Kombat.
Thankfully, things will look up for him in the next game.
Yeah, he actually does some cool shit.
Yeah. So, you won't just hold on a little longer, Baraka.
You'll make it one day.
Afterwards, Raiden, is like, "Oh, hi there, Devora, who's always been here."
Devora, I know you. I've always known you.
And then they find, of course, Devora loses, and then it's like, yay, the monks are saved.
So they go back to and the whole point of that thing is like, oh, I love Liu Kang and Kung Lao. They're like my sons. I love them so much. I miss them. Oh, I'm so sad. That's literally the whole point of that whole scene, is just really driving home how much Raiden feels bad.
Yeah. and it works. He was...
Yeah, I guess.
Also, I didn't note this, but like Raiden's wearing his classic Mortal Kombat 1 outfit here in the flashback.
Oh yeah. In the flashback scenes, yeah, he does, which is neat. I actually like that costume.
Me too. It's simple, effective. So, but yeah, back in the present, Raiden, you know, he snaps out of his flashbacking because he realizes the Revenants have invaded.
Raiden, they're at the door. They're killing us. Stop daydreaming.
But I'm having a very important character moment. But yeah, Bo' Rai Cho gets his ass kicked. I think he gets killed.
No, yeah, he gets zapped, but I think he just gets zapped by Shinnok's thing. I don't think he dies. He just gets.
Oh, I think the reason I thought he died is because afterwards Shinnok and Raiden have a conversation about his soul, where Shinnok's like, Bo' Rai Cho's gotta be my slave now. And Raiden's like, no, his soul's really strong. He's not gonna be evil.
Yeah, I think that means like he's still hanging on.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that makes more sense. I thought Raiden was saying Bo' Rai Cho is such a good guy that he would never become like a Revenant.
Which makes no sense. So, literal ghosts of Raiden's past come to troll him, basically telling him, like, this is your fault, this is the Elder God's fault, fuck you.
Okay, the entire dynamic, you're familiar with Aqua Teen Hunger Force, right? Or you watched it?
Yeah.
There's like this, I don't know if you've seen this, there's this one episode where like Frylock accidentally kills Shake, Meatwad, and Carl. And like later on in the episode he finds them as zombies, and literally for like a minute and a half the zombie versions are like, you killed us, and Frylock goes, no I didn't, and they just go back and forth on that, and that's literally their Raiden and the Reverend's entire dynamic is just that.
That's very funny. Yeah, I mean, it's a lot like the end of MK, like the end game of MK9, where the Revenants are telling Raiden. It's just a rehash of that. Just the Revenants telling Raiden, "You killed us. Why did you do this to us, Raiden? You asshole." It's like, all right, we get, and it's like, I think we get it at this point.
Yeah, yeah, they kind of lay it on a little thick. There's also this very unintentionally hilarious moment where like Raiden's left alone with the Revenants, and they literally just start pushing him around like Mel Skull bullies.
Yeah, there's even a similar scene in the temple where Devora is just spitting goop on Johnny, just like this orange goo on him, and he's like, "Ah, stop it!" Like it's like some kind of like binding agent, and he's like, "Ah, knock it off." There's a lot of those moments in this game where like characters are just like trolling someone or like doing like some kind of bully hazing move onto them.
But then Raiden finally fights back. He shocks everyone except for Kung Lao, who manages to escape it, and then they have a fight. And then after that he fights and defeats Liu Kang, and he's like, you know, Raiden's again like, I'm sorry, dudes.
Mm-hmm. He goes into the temple. I have written down, where's Fujin?
He has...
Did he go to the store?
Yes.
Like, I'm serious. Like, where did this character go? It's really bizarre.
Yeah, it's weird. You think this would be significant enough for him to come down from, like, the Elder Gods pad again? Yeah,
they should have... I mean... an explanation as to where he is would have been, you know, not enough, but no, they're just like, he's not there.
Yeah, pretty much. So after that, we Shinnok invade. You know, Shinnok like he has like the Jin C of which is I guess like Earthrealm's essence. And you know Shinnok, you know, corrupts it and makes it red and evil, and then he becomes a giant monster dude because of it.
Yeah, and it also sets up this, like, red sky.
Oh, yeah, it's like a sinister-ass red sky. It's, you know, shit's bad.
Man, Shinnok's form sucks.
Yeah, it's very uninspired. It's
just a demon guy. It's just a demon guy. That they could have done something different, like, made him, like, still look like Shinnok and, like, had a, I don't know, like a devil trigger of some sort. But no, they didn't do that. Like how Dante, you know, when he does his double trigger, he looks cool, but for Shinnok, he just looks like a generic demon bad guy.
Yeah, I agree. It's just, nah. Thumbs down.
Thumbs down.
Yeah.
Be better, do better.
Oh, speaking of generic, uninspired designs, guess who's the focus on next chapter?
Yeah, okay, let's just breeze through Jackie's section. Jackie, so Kotal Khan, comes to Earthrealm. He's trying to figure out what the heck is going on around here. You guys stole the amulet. How dare you betray me? And Jackie beats all of the Kotal crew. Like, she beats up Aaron Black, Reptile, the fucking
Ferrantor. Yep.
Ferrantor. Then she beats up Kotal Khan, and this is just telling you, nope, Kotal Khan is just another jobber. Don't get your hypes up. And it's so lame. I'm sorry. It's just so lame.
I actually think it's nice, though, that she got to defeat Ermac, though. You know, she avenged her dad, at least.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. But yeah, it's kind of just... It has the feeling of, okay, we gotta wrap this up. Let's just get through this quickly.
Yeah, the Mario Kart final lap music started playing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just lame, and basically it's supposed to tie up the knot between the Kotal crew and the newbies. And
yeah, it's kind of near the end of the chapter. It seems like things are hopeless for them because they're surrounded, and then the Lin Kuei make a big heroic entrance, save everyone. And Sub-Zero gives them time to go save Raiden. And before then, Sub-Zero's like, you guys work together as a team. Your character arc's complete now. Yay.
Yeah, just so nonchalantly, like, yep, you're done. That's enough character for you.
And then we get our final chapter, which focuses on Cassie.
Oh boy! So yeah, the character. So this is not a good sign. Where the character that's just been fucking up this entire game is actually the one who's going to save the day.
I know. But hey, this is her big moment. This is where she finally steps up and becomes a real hero. So.
A real hero. So we cut back to the Sky Temple. The Revenants are planning what they're going to do because they don't know what's going to happen next, really. This can go either way. I have written down... Yeah, so Cassie fights Sindel, then she fights Katana.
There's a moment where, Sindel, offers to be Cassie's new mom. It's a little weird.
That's yeah, it's a little weird. Yeah, it's a bit strange, isn't it?
Yeah. But yeah, she beats up the reigning Revenants. Takada and Jackie offer to stay behind to keep the Revenants busy, so Kung Jin and Cassie can go inside and save Raiden.
Yeah, this is just an excuse for them to start making kissy faces at each other because Takeda and Jackie, it's been hinted that they have a thing for each other.
Mm.
Which is how it plays into the ending too. Before we get there, we cut back into the Sky Temple. Devora is now having bugs eat away at Johnny.
I know. It's very gross.
It's they'll eat you and then they'll grow inside of you. It's so funny how she's just trolling Johnny for the past hour or so.
I know. Cassie comes in and beats up Devora to save her dad, and then afterwards we get our final boss fight.
Man, I remember this fucking boss fight. Holy shit. Shinnok's boss fight is so bullshit.
It sucks.
He has certain moves that you can't. There's nothing you can do about it. It will just hit you. You just have to deal with it hitting you, and it does your whole health bar. And there's a lot. It's this isn't fun.
No,
especially when he's a generic looking demon guy.
It wasn't nearly as hard for me as Shao Kahn was, but it still wasn't any fun to play through. Actually worse, because Shao Kahn at least felt legit satisfying to beat, where Shinnok didn't.
Yeah, because you're beating Shao Kahn. This is just, you're beating Reuse Acid Demon _42.
Rejected, Doom 2016 character design.
too goofy looking. You know what I mean?
And yeah, that fucking like chest beam attack he does is the worst.
I think that's the one I'm thinking about.
It's,
oh my god!
It's literally he spams it so much too. It feels like you're playing against like the most cheap ass player possible.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm getting hives just thinking about it.
Yeah. So unfortunately, yeah, not a great way to end the game from a gameplay perspective, at least.
Yeah.
After Shinnok's taken care of for good, Cassie and Raiden's kind of like put me into the Jinsei or whatever, and like and that Jinsei. Thank you. I keep mispronouncing that, but yeah, Raiden needs to purify it because it's corrupted by Shinnok's essence, and he does that. But that's gonna have some negative consequences.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then, but we're not gonna dwell on that for now because Cassie saves her dad, and Sonya's there, and they have a nice big family moment together.
Because Mortal Kombat's about family. just that like that one theme. You can tell when people don't know what the themes are or something. They just say, "Oh, it's about family."
It's about learning to be weird.
Oh, damn it. Let's see. So, yeah, the day is saved. Shinnok's defeated. All things are good.
Yeah.
And everyone goes home to, I don't know, have a barbecue.
Yes. Scorpion, then just... I'm sure Scorpion has some rad barbecues.
he just does his like down back B like Hellfire move.
Do you remember the Cooking with Scorpion videos from Deadly Alliance?
That was a thing?
Yeah, one of the crypt unlocks you could get in Deadly Alliance was literally these live action short videos of Scorpion with like deliberate like Eric Andre-esque like VHS effects to make it look like it's from the 80s. And he's like wearing a big goofy chef hat over his like Scorpion costume, and he's just like cheerfully like cooking. It's yeah. So yeah, the ending is nowhere near as depressing as 9's, which I think is for the better here because I think it'd be too much to do that like twice in a row.
Yeah, everything's fine. Nothing to worry about. Oh, what's this?
Oh, yeah.
Transmission coming in.
Yep.
Wait, that's Raiden's music, but he died, didn't he? No, Raiden's back, and he's dark. It's like the Dark Raiden after... Which one was it? Deadly Alliance?
Deception.
Deception. After Deception, it's Raiden. He's dark and has red eyes now, and he says that too long I've been too much of a mad pussy to do anything about the whole about any threats to Earthrealm. Not anymore. If you come around my block, I'm gonna fuck you up.
It's a very good promo.
And he even like shows that he means business by throwing the Netherrealm rulers the Shinnok's head.
I know. It's such like a brutal but like way to deal with Shinnok because obviously he can't die, so Raiden literally just reduces him to a head in pain for the rest of his life.
Yeah, brutal.
And then of course it cuts and reveals that the rulers of the Netherrealm are now Liu Kang and Kitana.
Gasp!
This is actually kind of what I was talking about when I thought like about how like on some level the Revenants still care about the Earthrealm. And one way I thought about that is, the next game kind of like throws that away because they're just super evil there. But here you could probably interpret it as they're taking over the Netherrealm as a way to ensure it won't like there'll be good rulers that won't like invade other countries or whatever, realms or whatever.
Interesting. And now their hatred of Raiden probably is their motivator to go to Earthrealm and liberate Earthrealm from him.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
There's actually... I almost low-key wish this was like the sequel premise for 11, because like Kotal Khan's ending has him deal with evil Raiden, where he's gonna invade Outworld just to make sure it won't harm Earthrealm ever again, and so Kotal Khan invokes Mortal Kombat. And so that way, so now it's the dynamic where Outworld has to use Mortal Kombat as a way to prevent Raiden from conquering him.
Yeah, could you imagine if MK11, had more new characters, but had, what's it called? Had,
Chronica?
No, not Chronica. Had, the Kotal Khan crew be the good guys.
That would be a really cool it can't be a way to turn the tables where now the Outworlds are the underdog heroes who have to defend against Earthrealm.
And then they're in the conflict within Earthrealm could have been we don't know, is this the right way to go? And you can have people who doubt Raiden and some people who do doubt Raiden. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, that happens in 11. In fact, honestly, I guess this is gonna go into spoiler territory, but Evil Raiden doesn't have that much of an impact on the next game.
Oh yeah, we're gonna let it rip next episode.
Yeah.
So yep, that's MKX. How'd you think about it, Josh?
Overall, I thought it held up pretty decently. I think as just from a gameplay perspective, I liked 9's more because there was more variety. There was there's stuff there was survival matches or handicap matches that kind of mix things up, so it was a bit more fun to actually play through. Where in X, it's kind of more monotonous because it's just fighting over and over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
But as a story, I mostly enjoyed it. Characters do make some very dumb decisions that you don't think they should, or some obviously some of the character designs aren't great, but I thought overall, just taking it together, I had a good time. I thought it was a nice kind of, because a lot of it kind of feels like catharsis after a 9 where the characters are going through the ringer constantly and getting shit on by the villains. Where here it's they actually gain some ground. There's actually it. Even though things feel more optimistic, it was kind of nice. So
there, yeah, I'll pair a lot of that too. I mean, my thing with MKX is just I think its art direction leaves me wanting more with it. I feel like it's very limited. You can go for a more realistic look, but don't be afraid of colors. Life is colorful.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very poetic thing. But life isn't gray and brown. Life is colorful and bright. Looking out my window right now, it's beautiful out. It's fucking nice out. And that's the one thing that people that really boggles my mind when they say, "Oh, I love this is when they go for something realistic is they try to avoid all color," and it's why? Why make it look gray? Why make it look like a Nolan movie?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Nah, I know what you mean. It's probably why graphically it's aged very poorly compared to a lot of games that came out around the same time, like we said earlier. Because there are points where it legit does look like a 360 game.
Oh yeah, and hearing that it was on the Unreal Engine, it's probably why they were probably pushing that engine as long as they possibly could.
Mm. Yeah.
All right, and with that, we are signing off. Next week, we are going to be covering MK11.
See you guys.
See ya.